Welcome back. I'm Shiko,
I'm Nyam.
And I'm Gathoni.
and this is
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Kiasi.
Kiasi. Whoa.
Whoa.
Wow.
Eish.
I had to bring back the
Beyonce, is that
adlibs.
you?
For sure it's Michelle.
Excuse. I am
Anyways,
Kelly.
hi
Okay,
Calendria
guys.
for
Misha.
life. You
I
already know I'm
know.
Calendria. Don't play with me.
That wasn't her. That was Michelle.
Kelesh.
That was very Michelle of you.
Michelle is a falsetto.
That's
It's
me.
so
That's
funny because, like, I always
Until
liked
God
Michelle the
says yes.
most.
Me and Michelle every time. I'll pick
Like,
her.
actually, but I feel like my character is more Beyonce, but like, I wanted to be Michelle because,
You're
like, her parts
Beyonce.
were always the
I'm
best.
Michelle.
Like,
Yeah. And in all of the sadness and gladness, still, yeah,
eh,
still
What a
eh,
find
digression, guys.
always.
I mean, what are we to start season 4?
Welcome
Also,
to
but can we
season
talk about? Oh yeah, we haven't even
four.
welcomed
Wow.
them. Hello.
Gang, gang, gang,
Hello.
gang. We're still
Thank you
chaotic
for sticking
people.
with us.
I don't know
Welcome to
why.
season 4, where the Destiny's Child website is now coming soon.
I saw.
Just so you know.
I
It's a
saw.
I
new
sent
thing
it to
that
you.
everyone's coming back together and sync have a new album. I mean, is it the 90s? What is happening? Anyway,
War on the Street. Oh wait, NSYNC has an album. I didn't
they
know
are about
that.
to,
What
yeah.
have I
So
been?
they
A
did
new album. Hey.
the first girl. They have an Instagram for NSYNC. They're telling us coming soon. Ubani, you know the American calendar. I don't know what month it's. Maybe it's in December. Who knows? You people mix up the numbers. I don't know
You know,
what's
I
coming
saw
out,
them
but
in
it's
Justin
there.
Timberlake's TikTok, but I just assumed, I mean,
They
it's
came
for old
together
time's
to
sake.
present for VMAs,
Uh-huh.
and then it was a soft launch. You know how people do with their boyfriends? They did it. They said, we're together. Everyone was like, oh my God, for the awards. They're like, no, for an album.
So good. Hey.
So,
Wow, Gathoni.
I mean, Boys to
Love
Men broke
it.
our heart, but
So what?
NSYNC might not. Praise the Lord.
I mean, I don't even want
So
to
moral of
add
the
to
story
this.
is we just have to save our money because
For
a
sure. For
legend,
Destiny's
and
Child.
this is a legend. Act 2, you
Why?
know how Beyonce did Act 1 Renaissance?
Okay.
I always have a legend Beyonce facts. Let me tell you, I'm so deep in Beyonce talk.
I was
It's
laughing
so
at
wild.
you because you said a legend. Like,
You could let her prosper. You could let it go. You could let it go. Wow.
I've
typical.
started doing that on purpose. I didn't even notice I did it. Is it Kalani, is it you who usually does
Oh,
that? I feel like
me,
I picked
Jesus,
it from
yo. Yeah,
someone.
it's
I
not
picked
me.
it from
Me, I
someone.
only say Jesus.
Legend.
Anything else is you by yourself. Lil, I say Lil and
Anyway,
Jesus.
a
Anything
legend
else?
has it.
Uh-huh.
Act 2 is Destiny's Child. Act 3
Eh.
is B and Jay-Z. But that
Wow.
one is just maybe. Anyway,
Sina haja na
Wow.
hiyo ya Act
Anyway,
3. Act 2 can
say
be
it
Lily.
so.
why
Same
would
thing the
we?
internet said, gal.
Yeah, ain't nobody
Ain't
got no
nobody
time for
got
Mr.
time for
Carter.
Jay-Z and his
But,
nostrils.
bitch, you
Wow.
said.
Not you sniffing. Not you sniffing.
Hey, mama.
Anyway,
Hey,
guys,
we've really started so
welcome to
chaotically.
season 4.
We're still
We have
crazy.
so much exciting stuff coming for you.
We're a little
Like number
excited.
1, I have a question for you. Nyambura,
Uh-huh.
our scholar.
Eh?
The fans asked
I
for
have a
it.
couple of words that the fans asked for it. I have a couple of words
Okay.
that
Okay.
I need you to describe for me.
All right.
We have to give the people what
So
they
are you
want.
ready?
Hop off.
1 minute on the clock.
Hey,
Dunda.
Junda is
You didn't say thank you for
dance.
that question.
Okay, let's
Yeah,
take
hello,
it
you
back
failed.
from the
Let's
top.
start again. Dunda.
Thank you for that question. Junda is to dance.
No, it's
Oh, to
not.
move your body. Dunda, dunda,
Uh-huh.
dunda. It's also to disco. You can be going to the dunda, you're going to the outside in the night. It's a dunda also. Thank you.
A light.
A light? Okay. Thank you for that question. A light can be a light. However, it can also be shukisha. It is to say, get
Shukisha.
off.
Get out of
um,
here.
I'm I'm getting off at the next stop when I'm using the bus or the matatu. Therefore, I am going to alight.
Use it in a sentence.
Conductor, please may I alight?
Hey. It's more like, wait,
I'm under
apple.
pressure here.
Okay. Uko smart.
Uko smart is how you tell someone their fit is fitting. Like, you're looking incredible, 10 out of 10. The orange is oranging on the melanin. So you will say uko smart. Smart is looking clean. Outfit check,
Hey, you have
correct.
said smart. It's not
Mark.
smart. It's smart.
Smart. It's not smart, it's
It's
smart.
not
Okay, uko
smart.
smart.
It's smart. Yeah.
Thank
Hey,
you.
There you go.
I
gosh.
will start saying that Uko smart.
Yeah.
Uko
Wow,
smart.
you're so smart today. Oh, think we're talking about the
Okay,
intelligence.
and last
No,
one.
it's giving fashion.
Last one. Mjanja.
Thank you for that question. Mujanja is someone who is tricky. True. Yeah.
Smart.
We ni mjanja. You are dodgy. Dodgy plus tricky. But also maybe shrewd, because anaweza kwa mjanjes. Like someone who's mjanja, but like in a good way. Like, oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm out of my depth. God. Yeah, a mujanja
Not using
is
Njanjes.
someone who is clever.
Think of Kakasungura, my guy.
Who is clever. Yeah,
The
wise.
hair, the hair.
No, it's not wise.
That the hair
It's
wasn't
not
wise.
wisdom
No, it's not.
necessarily. The
It was
cunning
tricky.
I think the
is
word
the
you're
Adventurous.
word.
looking for,
Cunning.
I was gonna say sly.
As sly
Also
as a
that.
fox. Sorry.
Hey,
Join us next week for similes.
mjanja.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
I think you did
Anyways,
an A
I'm even
plus. A
sweating.
plus. Claps for our scholar Nyam.
Thanks.
Send us the other
Oh.
send us any other words you want her to describe for us on our Instagram. Thank you.
Uh-huh. We'll
Love
start a
it.
list and then every so often, rapid fire.
Today we
Love
didn't time
it.
her because it's the
I'm
first time.
ready.
So after this, it'll be a minute on the clock.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Yeah.
got you.
We can spin the wheel.
You don't
Let's
tell people how
do
you've been.
it.
Oh yeah, how have I been? Actually, while Nyam spins, I'll tell you how I've been, and then we can tell you how you've been. You,
Huh?
Gathoni. Tell how the people. I don't know what this
What
English
is
is going.
happening?
Hey,
Let's start that whole sentence.
even when you said I don't know what this English is going, Jesus, it just continued being wrong.
I glitched. I literally
Imagine.
glitched.
Hey,
What you just
Wait, this
witnessed
is our
was
sister who lives in
system
America.
error.
the
Hey,
Matrix. Oh,
Anyway, how have I been? I think I've been good. I haven't really been having anything that I'm looking forward to. So what I did is I started planning a Halloween party. So yes, it might be September, but by September 5th, I already had my invitation sent, signed, sealed, delivered. I'm
I'm
yours.
yours. Do, do,
To
do,
our
do, do.
Halloween party. It's really not that even big of a deal. I'm just going to have a couple of friends over at my house, but I feel like Halloween is just one of those events that are fun to look forward to. The decorations, it's a themed party, so everyone's going to come decked out in their
I
costumes,
can't wait to
which
see
is
who you
always
are.
fun. I feel like themed. themed parties, you're gonna die. Although I
So
feel like I'm
excited.
about to change it because of controversy, but then do I care? No. So
Isn't
stand by
Halloween meant to be
on the
controversial?
costume.
I mean,
No, it's just supposed to be slutty.
but last
Oh,
time you weren't slutty, the time you had that thing
and
in
yeah,
your
I was
house.
hoping the S word you're going to
You're
use is
right.
scary.
You're right.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, you know nothing about
Anyway, so
Halloween.
that's what's going on in my life. I am planning a Halloween party. Please send me mood boards, inspiration. If you see something on Pinterest, send it my way. I've realized that the gift God gave me is the power of hosting, and I need to use it to my
Amen.
advantage.
Yes.
Wow. That is a gift that's kept me. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah.
I know.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
I know.
Hallelujah.
Can't stand the
Rabusha.
hosting. Actually, no, I sometimes host hosting.
Gathoni. Have you even had people in your house before?
Actually, I'm a pro game nights and things like that. Love it. But what I do, unlike you and your sister, my cutlery is plastic. My plates are plastic. Because who's going to do dishes after that? It's not me.
Gathoni, you
Nora,
can't.
said the
You
cat.
can.
Nora, said the dog.
Everybody has
Nora,
their style.
because I'm not doing it. Okay. So if you don't like
Yeah,
plastic, don't
you're
come to
right.
my house. Because my thing is normally dishes after it's done that stresses me. So I just give everyone plastic. Sometimes I can make it bougie
Mm.
plastic so that it's hard. The point is it's being thrown. Please note, I'm not an African mother who keeps her plastic after. Okay? No. I free
Shots
myself.
fired. Damn.
Ooh,
You know,
I
all of
swear,
us, we
there's
have
a
that
certain
house where
level of
you see
frugal.
plastic and you're like, oh my God, thanks God, no dishes. And then you find those plastic things. And the way it's so hard to clean those ridges. Please, Jesus, trauma. Anyway, where
Wow.
me through my plastic. That's how I host.
Nice.
Nyam, what's going on in your life?
I'm good, just chilling, vibing. I'm kicking back and I'm vibing. I'm chilling. I'm good. Yeah, nothing exciting happening. Maybe
Hey,
preparation for my competition.
you have another
Yeah,
one.
Yeah, she's become an
yeah, on
athlete.
20th
Don't play with her.
October. But I haven't started preparing
She's a
for it. But
CrossFitter.
like we are now a month out, so watch this space.
Only an athlete would say that when they were in the gym today. And it's like, I haven't yet
Is it
started
the same
preparing.
event?
It's not the same event. It's a different one, a different competition, but this one is being run by our coaches, like the organization that we train with. Why I'm saying I haven't started preparing is because it's a team event and we haven't really started working out too seriously as a team. But we are on the same program, so at least we know we're doing kind of similar things or strengthening at the same pace. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. As always, my priority will be fun first, and then everything else is a bonus. Yeah. So
You say
shall I
that
spin?
now. Next year you'll be a CrossFit babe. Champion.
Yeah. For if
A real
actually, my coach
champion.
was saying to me by the Open, the CrossFit Open, which is usually like in January, Feb, he's like I should be entering that competition, the global one.
As an individual. Oh,
Whoa.
24 point something.
Am I gonna see you on Netflix?
Hey, yeah, Gathani has all
No,
the footage
CrossFit is
for
for
my
YouTube.
documentary.
Actually, you're right. As long as I get credits. Okay, Nyam, spin. Like a record. Spin, 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 spin. Me, yeah. I love the way you play. Let me tell you how the other day this song was playing in the gym and everyone's like, oh my God, it's your podcast song. Okay, Kiasi taking over.
Wow. Wow. I hope every time someone hears that song they think of
You
us.
gotta think of us like a
Shout out
record spin.
Elaine.
Actually, yeah, just tag us if you listen to the song and think of us.
Nice. We landed on on replay. So what are you guys listening to?
Myself, I'm listening to ZayZay, okay?
Nani William?
ZayZay is the DJ on Spotify. You know, on Spotify have this new AI DJ who's
Hey,
like,
it's
"Hi,
you,
my
DJ.
name is Xavier." The first time he came, he was like, "Hi,
100%.
my name is Xavier." I'm
Oh,
not like the normal
I love that
AI
guy.
DJs, and yeah, so I call him ZayZay. ZayZay is X. Whatever ZayZay plays for me is what I'm listening to right now. I really like house
He
Yeah.
again.
actually has some fire things.
He does. Then he's like, we're
100%.
going to take it back to the artist. Yesterday, he was like, while Benifer were coming out, you were listening to this music by Tiwa Savage. I said, ZayZay,
Whoa!
not you being on top of
Tell me more.
yeah. I said, wow, not you being the shade room and a DJ. Oh my god. Anyway, so I'm listening to ZayZay. His name is X, but me I call him ZayZay because he's my boy.
Nyam, what are you listening? Switching genres.
I've actually also been listening to him. I remember I was in the car and the only thing is that he talks a bit too much. I was just like, it's giving radio. So
You
I
think
was in the
so?
car. It's not as much, but like because I'm used to music without talk or interruption. The other day I was in the car and I had him playing, and then he just because my music was on loud, he was like, "I hope you enjoyed that." I almost jumped out of the car myself. I was just like, "Who is that?" Oh, good. Anyway, um,
Oh, yeah.
Don't hate on my boy
that
Zay, man.
notwithstanding, I've discovered like some nice music from his playing. So I think what I've been playing a lot is this Habana Haba, which is colossal music in FG or FEG. That I got from him. Nairobi. He was calling it like Nairobi new R&B. I think it's really a vibe. And then also I discovered this guy called Mike Kaihura. He's I think Rwandese. So there's a song of his called Tuza, which I've been listening to also. Same kind of vibe, like vibey. Yeah, but that's what I've been listening to. On top of my regular, our gospel inspiration, fun times.
As usual, as
You
usual.
stay on brand, Shiko.
Personally.
I rock my body.
Personally.
Oh,
Hey, throwback. Anyway, personally, I haven't really been listening to much music, which is very strange for me, because I think also I haven't really been going anywhere, and I listen to music a lot in the car, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts recently around the house. Bethany Frankel I've been listening to her podcast a lot. I feel like she's just like such a breath of fresh air, like with celebrities these days. She just seems like very real.
I don't
She's
know who
done a
that
lot
is.
of like
Who's that?
she's one of the
she's
OG Real Housewives
alumni.
of New York.
Oh, okay, okay.
She
I know Bethany. When you say it like that, I know.
Skin
skinny
Margarita.
brands. Yeah. So her content has been like giving me life recently. She does these reviews also on TikTok where she just kind of like, I went to the Dollar Tree and spent my money on this so you don't have to. Or like she'll compare like really like bougie things to like Dollar Tree. She'll be like, don't buy this YSL lipstick. Go to Ulta and buy this
Oh,
Vaseline or whatever.
dope.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's cool.
But I just feel like it's like such a fresh and new perspective that we're not used to seeing. I feel like celebrities and influencers these days, everyone, even people who don't like are just random people on Instagram, everyone feels like they're superior and have complexes to them. And the only thing you see on the internet is like perfect days and like photoshopped bodies and like all that stuff. And even me, my page looks like that. But no Photoshop though. No Photoshop. We go to the gym. But at the same time, it's
And
also
that's on
really nice to
her.
have that like fresh content. So it's not really
Mm,
anything that I've been listening to, but I've been consuming podcasts.
okay, that's
Dope.
cool.
Fun time.
So guys, we are going into episode 1. Um we're going to give a trigger warning. It's not too heavy, I don't think, but it's trigger warning for people who may have sensitivities towards why am I saying it like a
Loin
nurse?
springers. Towards loin springers. Yeah, thanks.
We'll be talking we won't be talking about infertility, but infertility is also sensitivity that you need to be
Mm,
cautious of.
We're talking children.
true.
Shall we get into it?
Calcium suckers.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Hold on. Jeannie Mai, hello.
Shh,
Jeezy. Did you guys see
please.
that?
We
Wild.
don't have time.
Let's take it
Wow.
offline, please.
Okay.
Okay. Enjoy
Hey,
the
Okay.
okay.
episode, guys.
Welcome back, guys. So today we're discussing children. I think we have discussed relationships so much in our previous seasons, and maybe some of our thoughts have come up in those episodes as well. But we thought that this is something that we want to go into a little deeper. And so, guys, I'm going to start by asking you a question in terms of when you are growing up, as a youth. What was your view on
As a youth dem.
as a youth then? What
Pulo.
was your view? Your view on having children? Yeah, or what did you grow up thinking about children and having them? Shiko, you can start us off.
Sure. Personally, I really feel like I always wanted children. Um, I think my personality has always been that of nurturing, very like I don't know. I just remember even in kindergarten, I was the kid who was pulling people's teeth out
Mm,
um, when they were shaking. I was like, "Oh, it's shaking. You're scared. I got you." You know what I mean? I've always had that like very nurturing. Maybe it's back. I'm telling you, it always circles back to the dentist. Why are we here?
It's not
Anyway.
ordinary. It's weird. Okay, thank you. Use down, please.
But yeah, I've always wanted kids. For the longest time I said I wanted three. And that was a number. I really had planned. I had even thought about how my kids are going to look. I was like,
wow.
when you're younger, growing up in Kenya and you have all these tribes and everything, you're like, do you want fully Kikuyu children? Do you want some
Wow.
Luo features in there? Like,
Are you
I was
bragging?
detail oriented. I planned on my future husband. Nyam is looking at me like, what is going on?
No, no, go off, sis. I'm like, you better reverse engineer that child, man.
Because I was like, the hair matters. Are we going to all suffer? Are we going to suffer? Is it going to be soft? Like, I need to know what I'm preparing myself for. But the older I got, I feel, or the older I get, the more and more I feel my vision switching. Dum dum dum. But we're gonna
Mm,
leave that there for right now.
okay, that's cool.
Gathoni.
Then what
Let me
up?
tell
Tell
you,
us,
when
what
I
did
was
you
a
grow up?
youth, okay? You could not tell me by the time I'm 30, I would not have three children. I was meant to get married at 25. Hear me and hear me correctly. First child was meant to come when I'm 27. The second child, 28. If they weren't twins, if they were twins, I was done. If they were not, because we are children of a twin, therefore I was like 28, the twins show up. Do you understand that I have planned them in how they should show up? The twins can be the
Wow.
first one. I
Wow.
don't want that pressure. So they're going to be the second ones. They'll be at 28. If not, at 30, I was going to have another child. It's going to be the last one. They better not be a twin because I was not planning on having more than three children. Four out of the question. Therefore,
Period.
children by the time I'm 30. And the quote
You'd have
was,
sold the
why would I
baby.
have children? I mean, I will have had to think about the second born disappearing so that I have three and four. I don't know. We'll have to figure
Facebook
it out.
Marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's an episode of SVU where they call it rehoming. So I just have rehomed one of them. And I've been
It's too
like,
funny.
Craigslist, who wants a healthy baby? Not a twin, okay? Or one half of a quintet.
Oh
Um,
my god, she's joking, guys. Please,
disadvantages.
before
And
they
then
before
you're
they
going
think.
to
They're
get
coming for me.
cancelled.
Disadvantages, they might disown you when they're 18 trying to find their missing half. Don't worry about it. Anyway, I had a plan. By the time I'm 30, I was going to be done. And I used to say with confidence, I can't have a child over 30. That's a waste of my time because we need to grow up together because Gilmore Girls, guys.
Uh-huh.
All
So
right.
Yep.
how am I going to be? Also, when you are young, 35 and having a child, you're a grandmother, you're in menopause. Therefore, how? I mean, your eggs are rotten, they're dry. Do you
Yeah,
recall?
honestly, where did we get that from? It was
Yeah.
like have
we
all
used
your children in the 20s.
Yeah, we used to be told like it. I
Yeah.
don't know that I was specifically told, but I used to feel like having a child after 30 is like the greatest task you will ever have. Because people used to be like, can you imagine running after a child in the playground when you are in your 30s? And you know, when you're young, 30 is so old. So I was just like, guy, I'll be a show running in the playground. Guys. That was my plan as a youth, to have three children. I don't know if it's three because we were three, because we were perfect. You know, I mean, guys, I even you guys want three children after you've listened to our podcast. We get it. But like, wow.
Gathoni.
Nyam, what was your view?
Queen of projection. Yeah, I also grew up just knowing that yeah, I'll get married and I'll have children. I didn't think about their hair texture for sure, but I always felt like
Shade.
I I always felt like I wanted
That's that
only boys.
anti-saloon trauma for me.
Nyam was
I
like, our
guess
love
so.
will make their hair combable.
Shut up, Gathoni. Anyway, yeah, so I always knew I wanted kids, and I used to teach Sunday school or volunteer even like at vacation Bible school for like the younger kids, kwanza creche like 5 and under. So I've always loved babies, and I was like, I mean, there was no question, to be honest. I never felt like I was thinking about it, like it was a given, like how you go to school at a certain age. It was a given that I will have kids. I always wanted boys, but I was also like, I guess a mini me would be cute. But yeah, I've
Same.
always felt like boy
Boy
mom
mom.
vibes and things like
Same.
that. Yeah. So now let me ask you the question, because from that explanation, it seems like things have changed. So has any that feeling or what you grew up desiring, how has that changed? Um, And maybe you can tell us why, if it has changed, why it changed.
Sure. So for me, I feel like personally right now, I don't want children. Um,
Oh, bold.
I think, yeah, let's just put it out there. I don't think I have one children right now, but in that statement, giving myself grace and allowing for the flexibility of a changed mind,
Mm.
because that is part of the human experience as well, changing your mind
Yes,
through different
girl.
seasons. You know what I mean? So,
Human experience and feeling.
Yes,
Wow. She
human
said
experience.
human experience. Let's go.
yeah, yeah, I feel like a lot of times people are like these days are afraid to make statements because especially in like a public forum like we're doing it, just
Mm,
because if your mind changes or whatever it is, then you feel like you're not necessarily credible. But I don't think that's
Yeah.
necessarily fair. We should be given
mm,
grace to change our minds whenever we want to. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So the reason I've come to that conclusion, and by the way, before I continue talking about this, just know that me and my husband are very much on the same page about all of this, and
Mm,
how
You
we
don't have
feel.
to ask
So we're
him.
we're not
It's
a
a girl.
divided home. We are not a divided home. Yeah, thank him, thank him.
They were like, excuse me, sir, what
um,
are your feelings on this topic?
yeah, but I don't know if it's because we also at this stage of our lives are so invested in building our careers, number one, and our livelihoods. We also don't have the room or the space for a child. And especially coming out of education, I see the importance of being a present parent when you decide to have kids. Like, it's not just like, oh, yeah, have the kid and then send them to school or whatever, have someone else take care of them. Like, when that happens, you see how much emotional, I don't know, it's almost like the kid. I'm trying to, I don't know why I'm trying to walk on eggshells around this
Speak
topic,
your
but I
heart.
feel like a lot of times with African parents,
Uh-huh.
it's the emphasis is on being able to provide for that child financially. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah, you
And
don't lack.
a lot of us, I feel, grew up with emotional neglect,
Mm-hmm.
where we did not necessarily feel safe in our homes to share the emotional side of us,
Mm-hmm.
which is unfair almost.
Mm.
And I feel like when I think about being a parent, I want to be able to provide that emotional aspect of a relationship, or give my child the room to be able to express that. And currently, right now in my life, I'm not there. I don't have it in me to give that to someone else right now. It's already enough giving it to what was my job first, already enough giving it to my husband. And I'm not complaining about it, but I'm just being realistic about the situation. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm.
And also trying to stay afloat in 2023 with all the craziness of the world.
Yep.
I don't have it in me to give it to someone else. And it's not fair to bring someone into a situation where they're not going to get everything that they probably deserve.
Mm.
And yeah, that's kind of why right now I'm like anti kids. Besides, this economy is just wild.
Oh, that economy thing,
That
man.
part.
It's true.
And everyone is sad and depressed. And it's a sad world right now. I don't want to bring kids into this.
Mm.
Yeah, and global warming.
Listen. Anyway, Nyam,
Um, so I think how that has changed, to be honest, I don't think first me having children changed as a deliberate effort. I feel like life happened. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't making decisions to be like, I don't want to have children. I think having a marriage that didn't work out put like a different perspective on children in that context at that time, which made me a bit more sensitive, I think, to like who you're having a child with. You know, like there's so many, you know what Chico is talking about, like there's so many other things you need to be okay with or have processed um, as you bring a child into this world. And it's not for, yeah, so I would say I was still, when I got married, I was like, yeah, children are still the plan. That was the general idea. But as the breakdown of the marriage was happening, I was just like, I don't know if I can take care of someone else as well as myself in this situation. And I'm glad in that situation that they didn't come. Yes,
can I ask a question?
yeah.
Were you worried about the person you would be raising kids with ever?
I wasn't until the cracks started to show. You know what I mean? Like, I
Okay.
feel like
Yeah.
by the time I was getting married, I was not concerned. I mean, like the dream is to start a family, and that's what we're gonna do. Um, I don't know if I've shared before, but there were some challenges, so we also knew that we would need some scientific help to be able to have babies naturally. And so when I would consider that there's a higher investment, not only financially, but also emotionally, to be able to bring a child into the world. And then considering what was happening, I was just like, it's really too much. I would drown. So I guess some people, that traditional, there was a lot of like traditional aunts and older generation people in Kampala who would be like, yeah, no, but children can save a relationship, or someone can become more serious when you have kids.
The devil is
I
a
don't
liar.
hold that view. In the end, while it was quite sad in the moment that the children were not coming, I also see it as an answered prayer, because who knows how things could have panned out in that situation. So, in this current time, I still feel like I want to have children, but I think my thought process around what that looks like has shifted. Uh, and I've also had to sit with this for a bit. And again, like I was telling you, it's usually like relationships that bring me to that questioning place of, okay, if I was so sure that this is what I want to do in this situation, but things have panned out in this way, what does that mean? And of course, age is a factor now for me as well. So I still want them, but the why and the how I think I've really spent some time thinking through over the last couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, Gathoni?
Um, in my life currently, I don't want children. Um, Not currently, like I don't want children right now. I don't want children because the more I think about it, I feel like I get so in my head about having them and what life would have to be like with them or what that looks like, that it doesn't sound like an enjoyable thing anymore. Like I feel like part of the vibe of when I was younger is there's an innocence that comes with the lack of knowledge of how systems work, how the world is, how, that makes it a bit easier. But now I'm just
Mm.
like, with how much I'm working, um, taking my child to the school I want to take them to, how much harder I'd have to work or what I'd have to do for that, it's just, it doesn't make sense. And then also,
Yeah.
I feel like I know for sure I don't have a child on my own. So in my head, I have this perfect thing. I always tell people it's determined, like my partner would determine whether or not I have children. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you might have this perfect plan where the perfect person comes, and then you have the children, and everything is perfect. And then something happens, and your partner is not there anymore. You know what I mean? So then, do I give my children up? Like, what does that look like? Then, because I'm back in the space where I didn't want to have children on my own. But then it's not like I can be like, okay, I quit being a mom now that my partner is gone, and that's the only reason why I wanted one. So it just makes it just feels easier, the thought of not having them. The other
Has that viewpoint changed for you? Has that viewpoint changed for you since the passing of your ex?
mm, no, no. I don't think it was. I think when I was in a relationship with him, I was still in a space of, if it happens, it happens. But I feel like the more I exist in my singleness, maybe, um, the easier it is to be like, see must. Because also for me, I think, and I know we've talked about it before sometimes, is I'm just like, I want to be the one who has like Christmases in her house with everyone in the house. And I'm just like, if my child is having a birthday, why should I bring a child into a space where they have to do the juggling with juggled throughout? You know what I mean? So I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, being an auntie is just easier because I know
Mm.
we have therapy. I know we have all, like, yeah, we have systems that would work. But do I want to do that work? Like, do I really want to? Being a parent is so much work. One, I know I'll fuck my child up, so I already know I have to do therapy. Outside of
Don't
that,
say
Mm.
that,
no, I'm saying,
Gathoni.
Why do
no,
you
but they
say
say,
that?
no, 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 not in a bad way, but they always say your parent has a way where they'll do something that your child feels some type of way about. So I know I have to do therapy
Okay,
with
yeah.
my child. You know what I mean? So I'm like, there's that I have to think about. Then there's my partner. What's my child's reaction to the partner? Then the family dynamics. Then do I want to just wake up? Right now, if I'm like, I'm going to the coast tomorrow, I don't have to think about nothing.
Mm.
Horongay.
Rongai,
Barangay.
rongai, rongai. I don't have to think about anything. At that point in time, there's so much more you have to think about. And sometimes I'm just like, do I want that work in my life? Because currently, a child sounds like work, and they should be work, which is a good thing. But do I want to be that person? Or do I want to rock up to your house, pick the child up, go live my best life 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then be like, deuces? Also, guys, do you know how expensive university is? I don't want that responsibility. I don't know if I want it. I really don't think
Yeah.
I want it.
Okay.
So, and also I saw something on TikTok, which is, I'm going to be a bit dark, but they're like, maybe healing the next generation is not having them. So I'm on that train right now.
Ooh. Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, what a mic drop. Okay, so I want to like kind of ride on something you've brought up in terms of you want to have kids with a partner. So I want to find out from you guys. Okay, while I guess for you guys, your own kids is not something you're looking to do, but what's your view on like kids outside of a partnership or outside of marriage or, that kind of thing?
I believe in whatever individuals feel like doing, honestly. I kind of think it's wild to go on the journey of parenthood alone
Mm,
because just it's a lot of work, I'm sure. You
mm,
know, being a single parent is not easy. I mean, I saw it happen. You know what I mean? I saw my mom. I grew up with one. And I know she had to balance a lot. I know it was not easy. Um but I also understand some people have that desire inside of them to
Mm,
have that bond or to have a child. And if that's what their desire, their heart's desire truly is, I
mm,
mean, it really will,
Yeah.
they'll make it work.
yeah.
They'll make it work because that's what they want to happen. Kudos to you, but could never be me. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For me, it's a
Gathoni, you.
no.
Yeah.
For me, for sure, it's a no. I will not even. You know how some people, I feel like they're called to be parents, so it'll be like, um, it doesn't matter what I've had stories about women who it reaches a point in time and they're just like, you know what, I'm going to have a child on my own, and I respect that. But I feel like sometimes it's okay to be that person, because sometimes parenthood, the partner doesn't have to be a spouse or a man. It could be, if Nyam has a child, I am the person who shows up. Like, if you have, as long as you have a solid person who you can count on, I feel like your community matters. Because I feel like,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like sometimes it's not necessary. So if you're doing it on your own, yes, like you're the primary person on your own. But if you have like people who you can count on, depend on, know they rock with you, ride with you, then it's perfect. Because I'm like, sometimes tradition, it's not the traditional partner, romantic, whether whatever you are.
Yeah, I get that.
If you're in the LGBT qua,
Because, like you,
it's fine.
any of you right now, Gathoni or Nyam, if you had a child right now,
I'm fine.
you would be fine. You know what I mean? Like, Nyam can be like, I'm dropping it off at Gathoni's, or I'm dropping it off at Mom's, or you also have a very solid friend group. You
First,
know what I mean?
not
Oh, she
it.
said it, please.
Wait.
She just said
Yeah,
I'm
please.
dropping it off.
She's dropping it off. At least they know where
An
she's going.
object,
It is. It
like
doesn't
a
exist.
flash
But
disk.
I didn't even notice I did that.
external hard drive, drop it off. Like, Naitu
Hey,
Masai now.
whoa.
The guy is on his way.
Yeah.
Child is in the Uber.
Guys, can you tell I don't want children?
Yeah, tell me you don't want
Clearly.
children. Don't tell me you don't. But I feel like if you have that, as long
Yeah.
as you have a community around you, I feel like it's okay. If you don't have the community,
Yeah.
I the amount of respect I have for you, because having a child with a partner is still hard work. If you're going to go knowing for sure you are doing it alone, solo, I don't want to go this life if I'm gonna do it solo, like that, and you are still doing it, I
Throwback.
thank you. Nyam, that's
Whoa.
amazing. Her face.
Yam is just floating over here. We just need to revive his EFM so she knows.
But yeah, I
Not
respect who
easy,
wants to do it on
FM.
their own. But to answer your question, me, and never be me.
As in, you can't do it solo. But, and this is why I was asking, based on your explanation, Gathoni, then see, you have me. What's stopping
I
you?
would not. I want a person inside my house who, when I'm like, this child of yours, I want to be able to do that.
Oh,
Can't
okay.
if I can't come at you with this energy. Oh, so you think I shift alone because nigga, you better. If I can't do that to you, you're not the person I'm having a child with. You know.
I see.
And also, before Nyam, sorry, Nyam, before you go, um, geographic location matters as well because it's not only a solid community.
Mm,
Um, ma- I don't want to say majority, but a lot of people in Kenya can afford a house help or
mm,
home help. You know what I mean? So you can be able to go to work and your child will be fine at home because you have someone there.
mm-hmm,
In America, in order to afford that luxury, you have to be making hella money. You know what I mean?
mm,
It's not a thing that a regular person has a nanny. And if they do, it's typically for like, oh, we're going out for 2 hours, come to the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Wow, that's so interesting. So, remember I was saying how I've had to go on this journey of really questioning this whole child thing. And one of the things that I was processing in that time is if I really need a partner to have a child. And nowadays I feel like I'm okay to have a child alone. Yeah, I think And I've also been wondering if that's coming from I really want to be sure that I'm making the decision, but not coming from a jaded perspective where relationships are concerned, right?
Mm.
Looking at it separately. And so I think for me, it's a possibility. I don't rule it out. I don't think it has to happen with a person in the picture. But the timing of when that will happen is what uh, I don't know. And that's, I think, one of the other things I was processing is, of course, by the time you hit like 35, your gynecologist is already telling you and reminding you every time you go for your pap smear that, babe, if you're trying to have them babies,
Figure it out.
you're running behind, right?
You need to store those
Um,
TikTok,
eggs.
TikTok.
Yeah, right? So, for a long time, I really wanted to have children in the confines of a marriage or a relationship. But now I'm open to having it outside of that. But I also really questioned myself on, why do I want to have kids? Like, is it just for a mini me, or is it for, what is expected? Like, I just grew up knowing that you grow up, you get married, you have children, as in, so it's like a natural progression of what you're supposed to do, or is it about legacy? And then now thinking about, like, am I being selfish in wanting these things in another human being? And so for a long time I've been focusing a lot more on being a great tata, because I'm like, I still do love babies and I want babies in my
Auntie.
life. Yeah, tatas are aunties. But I just realized that it doesn't mean that they have to be my own to be my own. Yeah. And I have so many great friends who have children between the age of like 0 to even 18, 19, 10 days, you know, uh, 18, 19-year-olds. So I have the opportunity to have children without having them at very many different stages of life and just be there for them. So in terms of emotional fulfillment, I'm like, I can still get that without having them myself. So I think that also kind of helped me take the pressure off, like this time stamp, or even thinking about, if I want to have a child by myself, it has to happen now. Yeah, so I don't feel that pressure of the biological clock or the societal clock anymore, because I feel like the fulfillment that I seek in having a child, I am still able to meet plenty of that by being a good aunt.
But who will take care
And
of
I feel like you're the best aunt ever.
I really try to be. I love them babies.
Yeah. Hey, but Gathoni poses a good question. Ask it again for the people in the back.
But who will take care of you when you're 80?
Oscar.
It's a good question.
Facts, no. I'll be rich enough to go
Um,
to a nursing home. Guys, please. You really
you'll
think
put
if
me
we're
in a
saving
home.
on, I'll put myself into a fancy place. You really think if I've saved enough money on university fees, I don't have money to do things with? Guys,
You're right.
You're right. You're
also,
right.
the
You're
assumption is
right.
your children will take care of you. Please, who told you?
Yeah. I was gonna ask you
Honestly, if
guys.
we've seen anything from the old ages of our parents and everything,
And
Yeah.
how TikTok nowadays, guys are like,
some of
I
your
blocked
children
my
need
parents.
shit.
So now that person
Sorry.
who was planning
Yeah.
on being kept
Damn.
when they're by that child
They
and the child is
really
not
ain't. They're
talking to
not going
you,
to take care of
even
you.
you,
So
what are
if,
you doing?
because that's an interesting question. Like people say that all the time. Like if you don't have children, who's going to take care of you when you're older? But at the end of the day, you've spent so much money putting kids through school and everything. May I put that money towards a bomb ass retirement home where we play bingo for breakfast?
Yes,
True.
Don't play with me. Anyway.
exactly.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I was gonna ask you guys what, like, I guess your fears or hindrances would be towards having kids, but I think you've answered some of that. I know, Shiko, you talked about like work, career, progression, like that would be the priority now, and even not having the space for the emotional support. Gathoni, I think you talked about the expenses,
true, but also
and
on
all of
career,
that.
I feel like as women, once you've had a child, it changes your trajectory in the career path you're having, because they start to undermine you, or they start to feel like you can't have both. So I remember when I worked at the airport, there's a lady who just had a baby, probably 6 months old, and another lady went and was like to the boss, she can't do like farm visits. We used to go and visit like the clients, and she's like, she can't do them because she has a baby. And so when the boss was like, "Oh, I heard you can't do them," she's like, "No, me, I can. Like, why can't I?" And it's those things where it's just like, I remember
Wow.
even
That would never happen here, though.
one of my colleagues currently, where she was told, "Oh, because we work with a lot of Swedish people, and it's like, would you be able to travel? Because I know you have a husband and a child." And I'm like, how is that even a thing? Like, is there a father who's asked this question? And it really bothers me sometimes, where having a child for a woman actually genuinely changes the trajectory. Like now, for me, who'd probably need to travel for certain things, would I be able to? Not even would I be able to, would it be offered to me, or would someone take away the opportunity? Not because they've asked me and I said no, but because I'm a mother. So in their head, they're just like, she won't do it.
True, but sometimes
That's an
I think
interesting perspective.
it's it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I mean, and my hope and what I've seen happen over the maybe last couple of years is we're now also having a bit more of women representation in like these boardrooms and at higher levels of senior leadership. So that ceases to be like one of the things that come up because they know the experience themselves. But more than that, sometimes I know that there are moms who would actually prefer not to travel because they have kids. It does factor into their decision making in terms of opportunities that they're going to go for, and that kind of thing. So on the one hand, I hear where you're coming from, but sometimes I do, or I have seen or experienced that there's some people who have children knowing that they're willing to change their lives in those
But
perspectives.
I'm okay with it if it's their choice.
and this is the problem. Hold on. And this is the problem. Nyam, you've brought up a really interesting point. But at the end of the day, I feel like, and this is a bold statement again, if you're not willing to make those sacrifices, you should not be having children.
Facts.
Because 100% having children should change the careers that you're going into. Because I'm sorry, you can't be a big shot lawyer traveling from here to here and here and still I mean, people do it all the
Yeah,
time. They have
have a
children,
partner that
but
you agree.
those are the children who had everything provided for them from a financial standpoint, from an educational standpoint,
Mm.
went on lush vacations around the world, but also had like that emotional neglect or not that connect with their parents because their parents were always gone.
Not
Yeah.
always, because I feel like sometimes also, because I know someone who's a boss babe, and she's able to travel because her partner and her have this understanding. And I feel like as long as in your home, I'm like, in your home, if you have the understanding. So that's why I'm like, if your friend has chosen to change her career path, or understands how it's affected and is okay with it when having the children, then babe, go 100, like, go off. My thing is when it becomes, it's not my choice, it's being taken away from me
Yeah.
outside of
Mm,
my willingness for
And
it.
that's cultural,
Because
which sucks.
correct, because there's no man who ever will stop going on travels because he had children. Like, that's not a consideration you have, but we are both parents, so why is it his career does not get affected in any sense from like factual office? If he chooses to do something different, yes, but women, the choice is not given to them. I just want the choice. If I choose to stay home, it's fine, but I want to have choice.
okay, I hear you. Um, so with that in mind, are there some things then that you would consider that you would want to do or accomplish before having a baby? I guess for you, you have already said your stance is not having them, but even if you think hypothetically from this perspective, is it that now you have to reach a certain point in your career before you consider having children, if that's the goal? Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah. For me, I don't think it would be necessarily a step in a career. It would. be more from a financial standpoint.
Mm.
Like I would want certain financial goals or whatever
Do you have a number in your head?
achieved. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
$10
I
million.
yeah. No, it is not that
Say
high.
lottery
I
or
feel like,
nothing.
Please.
whew, yeah, finances need to be in check
Mm.
to a point where, and you know, if you know anything about my husband,
Mm.
Hey,
he's a numbers
Say
guy.
less.
wait. I'm sure that guy has a spreadsheet about the year you can afford children for sure, if ever.
Not one, three.
100%.
He's done some
A
financial
hundred
modeling.
percent.
Yeah.
I don't know how two type A personalities ended up together,
Color coded spread.
but
We get it. Don't worry.
just so you know, until that number is achieved, Wanjiko is not having children unless they're accidental, if she ever has them.
Yeah. Okay. Financial is valid. How about you, Gathoni?
For me, it's a partner. That would be my primary thing. Right now, I feel like my person might convince me that I can have a child. They'll work hard, really so hard. Also, they must be so cute because I really have to consider if I want to carry their like genes in me. For 10 months, that's a long time to not eat sushi. So I'm like,
And their hair type. Anyway,
I'm like, are you worth me not eating sushi and drinking vodka? Are you cute enough for that for 10 months? But honestly, my first thing is a partner. That would be my main consideration because that comes in whether it's financial, whether it's because I know on my on my money now, all I can do is travel with Oscar. Okay, that's the greatest thing.
wrong guy.
We can travel across the globe also, but like that's all that my consideration would be. So I think the partner would be
Yeah.
important.
Mm,
Yeah. Will you, Nyam?
yeah. Okay. I think for me, um, I think I would want to do a little bit more emotional work um, on myself. I don't really know that you're ever like healed to a certain capacity, but I think by, like what Chico was saying, when you're bringing someone into this world, and what I was saying before about like not making decisions on the basis of being jaded, and I think I'm okay in that sense, but um, I think if I was considering having children, I would go back to therapy specifically with that in mind, as a goal to process what that looks like. For me, financial is also a big part, especially now when I've started to open up my mind to maybe being a single parent or the possibility of that happening. Yeah, so I think for me, finances is also like a key consideration. I still don't feel like I don't have a number in mind, or like a ceiling where I feel like now when I hit this, it means I'm okay. Because I also kind of believe that God provides for children. You know how it's an African saying of, mtoto hukuja na sahani yake, a child comes with their plate. In that
That's
sense,
like styrofoam in my ears.
I'm like, what
really.
size is the plate? Is it a bowl? Is it metal? Does it have a dip? Can it hold soup? Or are we talking like a
Yeah.
saucer? What is the?
So I think it's a balance in the sense that I don't feel like I have to have their college fund secure before I have them, but there are financial considerations. I think other than that, all these other things I think can be done with kids. I really feel I wouldn't want to stop the other things that I feel are important to me, whether that's like travel or like I was going to say hiking, but I don't know if I'm that into hiking yet. You know, but just like I wouldn't want my lifestyle to change that dramatically in that sense that there are some things I have to do before a child comes. I would hope that my goals and ambitions can still be met while being a mom. Yeah, actually, this was something Gathoni you triggered also in my thought. You said you don't want to bear the children. So I want to hear from you guys. Like when your partner, you want to be able to be like, this child of yours that I'm carrying. You said some pretty things about genetics, hair, and stuff. What are your thoughts about like adoption and, just alternative paths to parenthood?
When I was young, I wanted to adopt. And let me tell you the dream I had, okay, guys? After I've had my child at 30, I was going to adopt. But I wasn't just going to adopt one child. I was going to be like, you know how white people adopt people of color? I was just going to be very in politically incorrect. But I was ready to adopt a white child. I wanted my house to look like a rainbow.
You Angelina Jolie?
Yeah, I wanted to be Angelina, where it's like this child is Asian, this one is white. But then, so that when I go to the supermarket and the white kid says, "Mom," and I rock up, people are like, "She's kidnapped the baby. She's a kidnapper." It was a really
My
great joy of
name is
mine.
Gathoni.
But guys, I
Angelina.
had thought I had said I'll have 3 babies. Then in my head, I was going to adopt four. Where was I going to give 7 children? Hey, I'd even forgotten. Hey, me of the youth was really quite a dramatic babe.
When me, I
But
had
I
been
feel like,
convinced to have 7. Why?
hey, 7 is a good number. It's the number of
What?
completion, praise the Lord. But can never be me. Right now, the thought of it, I think adoption is an amazing thing to do. I think it would be really cute. But it goes back to my thing of I'm not doing it alone. So if me and my person said adoption's how we are doing it. Though here's the crazy thing, okay, guys. The thing that fascinates me about parenthood or children is that the thing that I always wanted is to be pregnant. Okay. I'm more afraid of raising the child than the pregnancy. So I feel like I'm at a point in my life
Shika's face is
where
saying
is
something
everything.
else.
But like that's the thing that used to fascinate me.
The pregnancy is the worst part.
So for me, the idea of something like moving in me or being able to like that connection is what that used to.
Hell no.
So sometimes I feel like I would be up to being a surrogate mother, and I give birth and then give you your
Mm.
child because then the responsibility of raising the child that gives me the anxiety is not my job. But the thing that fascinates me about the child, I will have gone through the process. You know what I mean?
So
So
interesting.
that's the thing also. I'm like, should I be a surrogate mom? Though people say if it's your first child, you might decide to kidnap them. I'm sure there are movies on that. So that's like a battle I have. But I feel
Yeah, they
like
usually will
pregnancy is what's
say
more
a surrogate
fascinating for me.
should be.
A mother already, yeah.
Allegedly, T. Beyonce and Jay-Z have a surrogacy farm.
What?
That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to be tracked. Google
Girl.
it if you want to know more about it. DM me if you want to talk about it. Let's go.
What you saying?
Ooh,
And they made millions on it.
yeah.
But
Oh, what you only meant
anyway,
well. Wow.
personally, personally, I've always been for adoption. I'll tell you how my journey went. Eh?
I'm about to stop listening to you just to Google the story. Oh my god. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll tell you guys afterwards. Let me tell you, TikTok had me in a hole deep.
Those black
Wait.
holes for TikTok are the best though.
Anyway, so personally, I've always been for adoption. When I was growing up, something that mom always did because I grew up by myself, she always used to take me to like orphanages during breaks and stuff like that, just to volunteer and to help people and to also just play with the kids because there were a lot of kids around my age as well. So I always grew up like wanting adoption and knowing that if I was going to have kids, at least one of my kids would be adopted. Um, and then as I grew, I went from my first child will be the adopted one.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when I was still in the process of like I'm going to have kids, my first child was going to be adopted. And I remember even telling mom that and she was like, "What? Why would you want that or whatever?" But like in my mind the thought process was I feel like adopted kids always feel like they're second to whatever if they're the child that comes in to the home. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Okay.
So I feel like if the adopted child was there first and then I had my own, um, they would know that they were special and wanted. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I don't know.
Chosen.
In my mind, it made sense.
Mm.
Chosen, yeah. In my mind, it made sense. But even now, like when I think about like in the future or whatever, if ever I have children or decide to have children or whatever, I still am very much for
Adoption.
adoption.
Okay.
Mm.
But
Mm.
something that I haven't mentioned, I've only talked about like me not wanting children to give birth or whatever. Or the 18-year commitment or lifetime commitment,
You said
that's too much
after 18
warranty.
I'm out.
There's no warranty.
Yeah.
Anyway, my I don't live like that. If it doesn't have warranty, I don't want it. Um, but anyway, um, fostering kids has always been something that I've thought about.
Mm.
Mm,
Um, Once me and Christian, I feel like are more stable with our careers and everything. Once I figure out my path or whatever, I feel like fostering would be a good thing because there's already a lot of children who are or in the world already. They exist. You know what I mean? And why not take care of the things that are already
hey, the things. Shows.
Children.
people?
Yeah.
Children. God damn.
Shows.
Lord,
Wow.
Lord, I don't know what is going on. Why not take care of what is already here than bringing in
I have a question for you
something that doesn't need to be here?
on your fostering and adoption.
Yeah.
Would you go for a younger child? Are you like 0 to 5, or are you more like 10 to 15, or are you like 15 to 18? Like, what is your limit?
I'm more of like a 12 to 18
Mm. Is there a
Mm.
particular reason?
because I taught high school
Mm.
and I think I was very good at it. And I think I really impacted some kids who have been through shit.
Mm.
Mm.
And I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I feel like it'll make me emotional. Because, like, those kids are actually going through real life stuff. You know what I mean? Like, more than we have gone through. And I feel like those are the kids that really, really have my heart. I'm not going to say need the most help, but personally, I do feel like that. But those are the ones that have my heart.
Okay.
Mm.
Nyam, you. What are your thoughts?
Well, I also was always gonna adopt. That's always been in my plan for life. Um, of course, now when I was talking about being a single mom, I was like, I think adoption even is clearer.
Oh,
And
you're not going to go and trap
I
a
had a
man.
She has a hot water bottle, remember?
you guys are so rude.
She really
Oh
does.
my goodness. I'm
Uh-huh.
going to give back to silicone.
Then that will for sure be the it that is being dropped. You'll drop it at its grandparents.
um, so I hadn't even thought about Chico's perspective of an adopted child feeling chosen or wanted for them to be your first. Um, but I also agree that there are also many children in the world currently who need, so even if you're thinking about it from a climate change and environmental sustainability point of view and overpopulating the
Yes,
world, there are already
sustainability.
people in there are already people, the population is already here. Actually, I was at an event this week where they were talking about that the projected population in Africa in 2050 is going to be 2.5 billion. And at that time, it's going to be higher than India and China combined, which is so wild if you consider how we're already like fighting for resources currently. Anyway,
It's
that is a
okay. The
tangent.
average age for us is 19, while in Europe it's in the 40s. We'll just move to Europe and take over the houses that they have built. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So, but out of that tangent, I'm basically saying that there are already children in this world that need love, care, and concern. So, that is an avenue for me. But I think I used to block myself from thinking about having my own children based on my age, um, based on like the prognosis of my doctors, or like being perimenopausal, whatever the case may be. But I also feel like science has developed to the place where you can have children whenever. I mean, like Janet Jackson is the on my wall uh, role model for that. You know, you can have your babies at 50, you can have your babies at 60. I mean, like people have babies when they have babies. So, in that sense, I don't feel like that time pressure. I think surrogacy for me would be an option if I even couldn't carry for myself. I think I'm very open to alternative general alternative paths. What I haven't thought about is foster care, and I don't know that there's a foster care system in Kenya. That would be some good research to look into.
Hmm.
I'm sure they must be because we have a version of CPS. I mean, Child Protective Services. I guess it's just not as pronounced, but they,
Yeah, and the unfortunate part is right now in America, the problem, well, the issue is like a lot of people, because the government pays you a stipend for having
mm,
children. Um, you have a lot of people. There's a bunch of weird people in this world who just use it as an opportunity to abuse children.
Mm,
Um,
and
so it's
benefit
sad,
from the
like a lot of
government.
people will run
Yeah.
away from, exactly, benefit for the government financially, but mistreat the children at the house. So yeah, it's been a thing. And you know what, a lot of adoption also comes out of fostering, because think about fostering dogs. You wanted to tell me this German Shepherd came into your house for 2 weeks and you're going to give it back?
Nope.
No, you'll adopt it. Same thing with the children.
I think it's your heart that's telling you that. There are some people who are like, "Thank you for the time of this dog in my house. I want to return it now. It's dug up my favorite plant. I don't want it anymore. Can I get a Shih Tzu?
Yeah,
I
you're
want a
right.
small
You're
dog
right.
now."
But
Because that's also the thing. I feel
you
like
get.
in the foster care
Thank you.
system.
Gathoni always brings us back down to earth.
Yeah, I'm like in the
But
foster care system. I feel like some people are also like,
Is it Earth
this
or
one I
pushing
want
us
to
down
trade
to hell
in.
even?
No, like
you're right.
I even see on TikTok that there's a thing for rehoming. So there's like a boy who's, oh my god, it's so rude. They make the children walk like in a catwalk, and you're told like, you know how genuinely like how okay, America, God help people, how you can read out this child is 18 years old. They are an A student. They are like genuinely how you put out a thing for an ad for like a house. This is what they do. They make the children walk, and it's called rehoming. It happens in certain states. And like it's that thing of I adopted a child, I don't want them anymore. I take them to this thing, and there are people there who are looking for a child. So they come and read, like, does this child fit? They have curly hair. They are 5 years old. They do not have
My
any
God,
like
it's
that.
giving
And the children
slavery.
and the
No,
children walk,
honestly, let me just tell you.
walk up and down, like they dress up. They walk up and down like they're being paraded. And then there's Aka boy. Aki. There's a boy who was being shown, and this was his third one. Because every time he goes, the home doesn't want him, so they bring him back. He gets into another home. After like 3 weeks, they're like, we don't want him anymore. But this poor baby is like 16. He's been in this system from like, and he was
I'm
taken
telling
out of the
you,
foster care system, and now he's just doing rehoming. It's like they're just doing ping pong with babies for out, come back, okay, next, like that. It's wild.
this country is crazy. I don't know if I was just too naive growing up in Kenya, or like the only thing that you'd ever hear like of happening to children maybe is like rape. You know what I mean? But out here, Sidri abductions and whatever, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, how did we get to this point?
Crazy.
Anyway,
It's
Yeah.
wild.
anyway. Yeah, when you talk about like surrogacy,
Hmm.
um, have you thought about like a father? I know Gadani has talked about like having a man, but like, are you open to like a sperm bank, or do you have like someone in your life who you would want to be the father, or
Trap a
Hmm.
nigga.
what's the vibe?
Ati what, Gadani?
I said trap a
She said
nigga.
trap a nigga.
No. So I mean,
Or
I
maybe there's
think
one who's
the
offered.
no, I have no offers.
If you'd like to offer, our
So
DMs are open.
Gadani, please, can I answer the question
I'm sorry, I'm done.
before you sell my whole uterus? This girl, it's like you're renting, you're rehoming my reproductive
Rent an egg.
system.
Hello.
So crazy.
I can make on a
So
profile. You want me to make one?
no, thank you. Uh So I think, I mean, the goal, or the not the goal, but like the ideal would be to have a partner, get married, and then have a baby. But if I did go the surrogacy route, I think a sperm bank would be the direction I would go in. I know that things get infinitely complicated when you have someone in your life who even offers, or I know you hear all these stories of someone who is willing to give you the child that you've always wanted, and you have rules about it, even sign agreements, and then 5 years down the line, the same way you are talking about the German shepherd, you're suddenly like, okay, I want to know my child, I want to be in their life, that kind of thing. So I think for me it would be a sperm bank, just for the neatness and tidiness of the thing.
You're not scared after watching Our
Smart.
Father? Is that what that thing was called on Netflix?
Yeah, the thing I'm realizing, and even as we have this conversation, is it doesn't matter what the case is. Like, there are risks whichever way you look at it. There's gonna be pros and cons, however you look at it. So I mean, yeah, you can also decide you still want to have a child the natural way, with a partner, with a husband, and then you have, a situation where they pass away, like Gathoni was saying, or I think life, there's even as we plan and think about
Divorce.
all these things, yeah, divorce, there's things that life happens sometimes in ways that you do not anticipate, and you just gotta roll with the punches, man. So I guess for me, it's just to keep a positive. I try to keep a positive spin or energy on this aspect of parenting, whether that's biologically or otherwise.
I have a question in wrapping up. Um, if you guys had children, what boundaries do you think you would put in place when it comes to like extended family?
That's a great question.
Mine would be more not for my child. It would be how extended family treats my child. So it's that thing of, I'll give an example. I have a friend whose daughter was hanging out with her grandmother, and the grandmother was like, "Give me a hug," and she was like, "Not right. I'd like right now. That's no." You know what I mean? Like the child had put a boundary on their thing, and it's her mother was hurt. You know that thing of, so you make her hug me, and she's like, I can't make her hug you. You know what I mean? Because it's that thing of, when we were growing up, there was no. It was hug your auntie, your uncle. They've come. Do this. I feel like my thing would be more allowing my children to determine how people treat them, and then being the supportive version of whatever the boundary they have set is, because I don't want it to also become that I'm the one who created, quote unquote, a dictatorship. This is how we shall work. So I feel like I'd allow my child to guide me. I'll teach my child what it is. This is what you have options on. This is how you can do this. If you say no, it's no. So then if my child tells you no, don't come to me to be like, but you're a child. I'm going to be like, but they said no, so bruh, it's no, and that's just it. So I'll use them to guide me on the boundaries, whatever they decide.
Yeah, that brings a very interesting dynamic of like feeling parents feeling respected versus teaching your kids boundaries, which the Africans are not ready for that conversation.
They're
How
not,
about you,
but
Nyam?
oops.
So fast, even though Gadani has answered that question, I'm like, I think I might have a niece or nephew in my future. Even though you started this conversation being like, I don't want children. Like there's like a vibe there you're giving that's like, it's a possibility.
She needs a man who ride. She need a man who
Be
be
her
her life.
wife,
She need a man who
has
rides
all
all night.
day
She need a man
in
in her
her
life.
You
life.
guys are treat. No, but I use the same boundary for my friends' children. I know there's like nephew who, like, if I come to say hi to your child and you're like hug tata and the child doesn't want to, I'll be like, please leave the child alone. We'll figure out our relationship on our own time. So it's not even just my offspring. I want to burst your bubble. But like even yours, if even as much as there's video evidence of what you've done. in as much as the um it's just respecting that boundary even of your children. If your child is like, I am as your sister, if the child is like, I'm not hugging you, Tata, I'll just be like, okay, it's fine, you know.
I think I would take a wait and see approach. I believe that from an extended family perspective, I think the people in our family, I don't doubt that they would love my child. I think the boundaries would be more significant for me, not necessarily for my child. I think with my child, it would be as things go, you know. And I think also pretty early in life, the child goes where you go. So if you're in a situation where you feel uncomfortable in certain areas, or you're not sure that someone will respect not even boundaries, I don't know, like if you say your child is has gluten allergies and then someone still feeds them chapo, like, come on.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because there are situations like that of, like shoshos overstepping in love, but still just like, if we don't eat that at the house, we don't eat that at the house. But I feel like that's a situation of tackling it as you go rather than preempting. Yeah. So if I'm not comfortable being in your environment or your space, or you treat me a certain way, then maybe I'll be a little wary about how you would treat my child and maybe not want them to be in that environment. I think it's a trust and credibility thing. So if I believe that you have good intentions, and you're willing to respect, I mean, like, I really don't mind. I think sometimes with those kinds of boundaries is to build them as you go. Of course, there's the general ones of if bedtime is this time, it's this time. And of course, grandparents even still will refuse your things. But then it's just to be like, okay, so you can only have the child in the afternoon then, or whatever. Um, or yeah, so I don't know that I have preemptive ones.
That's fair. I don't think I have any preemptive ones yet either, because I just feel like I am still in the stage of building my boundaries
Mm,
when it comes to everyone.
mm,
So there's no point of bringing in a child. First of all, there's no point of bringing in a child into a situation when you're still trying to figure out what the boundaries are.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because I just don't feel like it's not fair.
Yeah, and I think
It's not fair.
in this world, even outside of what did we call extended family, there's even people that they will meet like in school or in church, or wherever they go, that will have different perspectives from them. So part of it could be strengthening that perspective. Like how we have maybe some relatives who believe like tattoos mean that you're going to hell, and they've taught that to their children, and that's all well and good. But I'm like, as you teach your child, you give them a different perspective. And when they go into the world, they'll probably meet kids who believe the same thing as them and others who don't. And I guess this is where now you develop your own values and principles and decisions on how you want to govern your life. So there's only so much sheltering as well that you can do. Um,
Yeah, and it's not also even just like trying to curate how things would go. It's more just like right now, if something happens that either one of us is unhappy with, there's still some difficult conversations that we're not willing to have or bring up with our parents about certain things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
So if I don't feel strong enough right now, or I haven't necessarily like healed something there, um I'm not going to bring a child into that situation yet, because I know the boundaries that I would set would not be fair. They would be based on my hurt and not necessarily for the child.
I think that's my greatest fear on creating a boundary for other people, is that I'd use my own bias to form my child's boundary, and I don't want to have to influence any of their relationships. So, for example, with our family, there are certain people who I have like, I don't talk to this person. That person might get along with my child. I don't want my lack of relationship with that person to affect how my child might have something that they can gain from. And right now, I don't know that I'm adult enough for that. So maybe that's a thing I'd have to go into therapy for when I have a child, if child, so that then I can consciously be aware of where does my boundary start and theirs. Like, is this my bias or is it a
Yeah.
boundary that protects them?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
True, true, true.
I think that's where the conversation ends. But we'd love to hear from you guys. Actually, it would be really nice to hear from some parents, especially. Like what were some of your considerations going into being parents? And even after having the first, going into the second, like are some of the things we're saying, things that you thought about. And if you're also still not a parent like us, we'd love to hear your thoughts on some of the things we shared. Gathoni, where
Or
can
if
they
you
find
regret it
us?
also.
That
I'm
part.
just like, yeah,
Okay.
because I know some people who don't want children. Anyway, where you can find us is on all social media platforms at OKKiasi. That's OKAYKIASI, gang, like a boss. You can also write us an email at okkiasi@gmail.com. You can send us voice notes also.
Period.
You can do everything. We are here for you. I'll be there for you because we are friends. Thank you.
If you've gotten this far, we really appreciate you and we thank you for doing so. We would not be where we are in this podcast game without you. As always, I'm Shiko.
And Nyam.
And I'm Gathoni.
This has been Okay Kiasi. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.